Clara, the character with probably the easiest repeatable follow-up attack in the entire game. For those of you who don't know or don't have her, Clara's main source of damage doesn't actually come from her attacking, but from her being attacked. When Clara gets attacked, Svarog will fire a counterattack, which is counted as a follow-up, and when you use her ultimate, it buffs the damage of Svarog's counter, makes it a multi-target, gives her damage resist, and makes her more likely to be attacked by the enemy, meaning that you're going to get her counter off more often. Unlike other characters, she also doesn't have a limit for the amount of times that Svarog can fire a counter in one cycle. She does have a limit to how many times his buffed counter can go off. When you activate her ultimate, she gets 2 buffed Svarog counters, but she can just keep firing that stuff off any time that she gets attacked, which makes it the easiest and most repeatable form of follow-up attack in the entire game. An important detail to consider when getting Clara attacked by the enemy, though, is that if she receives the status effects of Frozen, Imprison, or Entangled, the counter will not go off because those debuffs prevent the character from acting. When I made my team comp for Clara, I made sure to give her 2 different ways to not die, because while the damage resist that Svarog gives when you activate her ultimate is very good, it's not perfect, and she definitely still can die if you don't have some form of support for her. That's why I decided to pair her with both March 7th and Natasha, because March can give a very good shield, and Natasha actually is a fairly decent healer, even though that Bailu can heal better. Natasha and March I also feel are really good because they have built-in cleanses into their kit that you just get from ascending them, and then you just activate their skill and they can cleanse whatever debuff a character has, which means less bleed damage and stuff like that, less time frozen, and more time that the character actually gets to act. There's also the reason that I use March over Gepard, because March's shield makes her do a follow-up attack as well, which means that if you activate Clara's ultimate and then give Clara the shield from March, it is almost a guaranteed taunt that'll make the enemy attack Clara, and then when Clara gets attacked, Svarog will counter, and then immediately after March will counter as well. And while March's counter won't do a lot of damage, even if you have her at Eidolon 4, it's still really good for trying to get like ice breaks and stuff on enemies, and free damage is free damage. It's literally just more repeatable damage. For the 4th slot on the team, just go with whatever character you feel comfortable with. I personally would recommend a character that does a follow-up, or a character that has a lot of utility in their normal attack, but even if you don't want to go with either of those options, you can still just throw basically whoever you want in there. In the clips that I'm going to be showing here, you'll see that one of them, Himiko, who was the 4th that I had on the team at the point, dies, and it literally does not affect the team comp at all, because the main engine of it is still just Clara, March, Natasha. When it comes to the stats for the relics of your characters, it's really straightforward for this team comp. Clara is just your generic physical DPS stuff, your crit rate, your phys damage up, your attack up, all that stuff. March, you just full stack into defense, especially since her Eidolon 4 makes her follow-up attack do damage based on her defense, and you can get the light cone that makes her ultimate do damage based off her defense as well. So just stack everything into defense with March, that's going to be your best bet. And for Natasha, obviously just HP and outgoing healing up, just all that stuff, and anything you can get for that, throw it on Natasha, then your 4th character, build them as normal as well. When it comes to simulated universe, I always go Path of Elation with this team comp, just because the aftertaste that you can get from follow-up attacks is completely absurdly broken when you pair it with Clara, because normally follow-ups are balanced out by the fact that you don't get them that often, but with Clara you're getting them basically every time the enemy takes an action, meaning that basically whenever the enemy acts, you're just getting a free at least 10,000 damage on the enemy. Clara also has a gimmick that when you activate her skill after Svarog has countered an enemy, the skill will do increased damage to that enemy. And you can tell that's going to happen because a red sort of crosshair symbol will appear over the head of the enemies that the attack will do bonus damage to. There's also an elation buff that you can get that makes it so that ultimates count as follow-up attacks, and that makes it so that ultimates will activate aftertaste. And in that same buff, it also buffs the damage of follow-ups, which in turn is buffing the damage of the ultimate even more, and it just cranks the damage to absurd levels to the point that even March 7th is dealing good damage on her ultimate. If you want to push the damage even higher with some off buffs that aren't elation, preservation ones are pretty decent because they give bonus damage to characters that have shields, which with this team comp, you're going to be having March giving Clara a shield all the time, which means that Clara will be doing more damage, and it feeds into itself really well. There's some pretty fun buffs you can get from the other paths as well that'll benefit this team comp. There's one that'll actually give you your ultimate back entirely if you get any kill, which with this team comp gets really ridiculous when you ult, and then that ult has the aftertaste buffs, and so you get a kill with that ult, it gives you your ult back, so you fire your ult again and it gets another kill, and you can just keep going like that over and over. I actually have a clip where I think Himiko gets her ult, I think like 3 times in a row because of that buff. There definitely is a way that you can screw this up, especially if you put March's shield on the wrong person, or if you get greedy for damage and take a attack when you should have done a heal or something like that. But in general, this team comp has enough like health and damage resist and damage to just brain off 95% of the content in the game. Overall, I would recommend building into Clara. She's a really fun unit to build, and it's really funny to see the enemies beat themselves to death because they attacked a small child. And it also spices things up from the normal gameplay loop that a lot of people have been experiencing with Seela, because with Seela, it's always her turn. With Clara, the enemy's turns kill them. Thank you for watching this video on Clara and the Elation Path in Simulated Universe. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like and comment and subscribe if you want to, if you liked the video. If this video does well enough, I might consider doing some more videos on other characters. It would take me some time because I'm not whaling on the game, so I don't have a bajillion Trailblaze power and everything to get a lot of characters built right now. But I definitely wouldn't be opposed to making videos on the characters that I do have, like Himiko and Jingwan, and Gepard, and even some of the 4-stars as well, because I actually really enjoy Qingque and how she plays. So I would definitely be down to make videos on those characters if this video does get like positive reception and people like it. So make sure to let me know if you want me to do more of these in the future if you did enjoy it, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Peace.